Let's talk about all things health. Welcome to the Marketing Club. This is going to be a great time, and we're going to have a great discussion about health, everything health, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, ethical, name it. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but you know where we're going with this. You have to look at it from a new perspective, and this is going to be one of those perspectives you're going to enjoy to learn and listen to. So we're going to be talking about this for a good amount of time, and I know you're wondering, what about health we're going to be talking about? It's going to be those rooms that would have value at the end of the day, that you will now decide at what angle do you want to receive it, and how do you want to build it now. So you have to think about health from so many perspectives, but this is going to be one of those perspectives that are going to give you insight on how to produce your content, how to place your content in the right place, and how that content is also going to produce the right results for you. It starts off with what you do right now, and we're all entrepreneurs. Hey Leslie, welcome. Good to have you here. We talk about all these things, we talk about all these platforms, but at the same time we have to think about how all these platforms are paying attention to our day-to-day discovery. Are people connecting with you for the right reasons? Are they connecting with you for the wrong reasons? Do they, where's your, like, where are we seeing those things, and how can we build that in our structure today? So you don't guess it. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Faith. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the room.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, definitely great to have you with us. We're in the marketing club, a great house that, has been here for a while on Clubhouse. And I think it's also time we can, start off the week a little differently, because normally we're always punching tactics, strategy, goals, but sometimes we forget that, we have to do a health check first. How is our health? And I just figured this would be perfect opportunity for us to talk about it. So I wanted to pass it on to you. You don't get it to take over, and we can be here. We're going to be here for a good amount of time, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how the conversation goes. But it's going to be something we're going to dive deeper into discussion. So I'll pass it to you to introduce yourself and let people know who you are, and we can get started.
Great. Thank you so much. Yes, you're absolutely right. We have a habit of worrying about everything around us except ourselves. Especially when we are business owners. Growing our businesses becomes the focus of everything, and we neglect ourselves and our health. So my name is Idori Sitobeya. I'm a registered nurse. I have a master's degree in nursing informatics. I'm also a nursing professor. So I actually teach in two colleges. One, both accelerated programs. So I have students that are second degree holders going into nursing as a second career rather, and also I have LPNs transitioning to the RN role. So I educate, adults, both adult learners, adults who are coming from a different field of studies. I have accountants, I have lawyers, I have people who own their own businesses, restaurants, even a mortician, and also I have, adults who have been LPNs, for anywhere between 5 to 40 years. I have a 76-year-old student, believe it or not. So I take pride in people taking a second chance at themselves and their career. So the reason why we're here is that oftentimes, even among my students, even people among my colleagues, people that are already in the healthcare field, we often neglect ourselves. We often neglect to have that annual physical done. We often neglect to pay attention to that aching pain in our backs, an ankle, even in the jaw, right? Even chest pain, right? It is these level of things that signals us to take care of ourselves, but we often ignore it. If we're driving a car and check engine light comes on, what do? Oh my goodness, I gotta get it to the next mechanic. I have to see what is going on. But we avoid or we ignore the check engine lights that come on in our lives, in our health, right? A headache that doesn't go away. Um, a pain in the gut that doesn't go away, constipation, even a diarrhea, right? So it's time to have that conversation, to be more proactive as opposed to being reactive, because oftentimes when we get to a reactive point, it's often too late, right? It's often a chronic condition. So knowing your family history again is another important aspect. I'm African, I'm Nigerian, and the one thing about our African culture, which I am working hard to change as a community educator, a community advocate, and also uh, uh, interventionist in a sense, is to change the culture of which we're used to, especially when it comes to health. Oftentimes, people do not know their health history because, we grew up in, or our parents or grandparents, whoever raised us, grew up in an era where everything was hush hush, right? And, you don't know to get a BRCA2 testing done that would indicate. A breast cancer diagnosis, right? You don't know those things until it's too late, or you have a lump in your breast and you're like, oh, it just feels like lumpy, or you look at your breast and you feel a little dimpling. Oh, it's just a dimpling. Maybe it's just cellulite. No, it's not. That's how breast cancer cells grow in the breast. That's the physiologic display, or that's the physical signs that we see. And these are fixed lumps. Yes, the breast can be lumpy, but a lump that doesn't move and is fixed, right? That is a problem. If you look at the skin and the skin changes either consistency or color, this is something that you need to pay attention to. Also asking within the family, do we have a history of cancer, even prostate cancer, right? Do we have a history of prostate cancer, breast cancer, or any kinds of cancer? Angelina Jolie famously made headlines, I think it was about 10 or 11 years ago, when she elected to have a double mastectomy, and the vanity of it all took center stage. Oh my goodness, why would she elect to have a breast removed? She's still childbearing. What if she decides to have another child? That was not what was on the forefront. Angelina Jolie lost her mother, and we know that had a very serious impact on her. And she did not want her children to experience that. This because her mother unfortunately died from breast cancer. And when she went to proactively get screened for that, she knew that this is something that ran in the family, right? She has a family history of this. So she decided to proactively remove her breast tissue. In that case, she didn't wait for breast cancer to occur, which helped her preserve the outer covering. And basically, they instilled or installed silicone in that space where she still maintained the size of her breast without the breast tissue. So this is what proactive intervention can do for anybody, right? You know what is going on so that you can act ahead. You can make that step that doesn't cost your life or become critical. The same with diabetes. If you have diabetes, in the family, you have a family history of diabetes, you know that it is very crucial for you to include regular exercise and healthy eating habits in your life, right? So as you're busy worrying about your business, you're busy growing your business, you're not going eating junk food just because you know what, it's quick and I don't have to think too much about it. You can actually preserve your life while you're preserving your business and enjoying your business and growing your business. So these are the kinds of things that I teach people, even high blood pressure, right? Um, Understanding salt intake, understanding that salt is not just the salt that you put in your food. In here, United States of America, we have salt and sugar infused in everything, from ketchup to even some bottled waters have some sodium content. So it is very important for you to be very well educated, an educated consumer when it comes to your health. Read your labels. Canned goods are, salt is used as a preservative. So understand the salt contents of each food um, item that you eat so that you can be in a better place to control what you intake. so you have longevity to take care of yourself and your business and actually enjoy your business growth. So that is like the long short. Favor, I don't know if you had any questions on something I can talk more on.
No, this was good. You touched on so many things. I think one of the major factors that I heard from you is, that check engine light for your health as a business, because you're always working, you're always in motion, you're always running, you're always invoicing, you're always inventory, you're always doing something. Like this, like, can I catch a break? Sometimes there's so much happening that you forget that the most important thing, like drinking water, is important, but we don't really kind of look at that because we're so busy doing other things, praying, focusing on your day, just being focused, period. And looking at it from an outer layer. But the health piece, if we don't check our health, then we're not going to be wealthy, internally, first of all, and externally. So there's so much to look at from that check engine light, because if we can do that so fast for our cars, why can't we do that so fast for our health, for ourselves? But I also think another reason is because society, culture, experiences, life has come in the way, and it's pretty much like clouded our judgment and our process on how things are done. So I don't know what you think about that.
You're absolutely right. The main driving focus, or the main driving force in most of our decision making, a day-to-day decision making, is either family pressure, society. Is usually the extrinsic factor. Is never an intrinsic thing, right? So even if you know within yourself, hey, I have to kind of like take a look at this or explore this a little bit, just because, oh, you have a family to feed, because you have a business to run, because you are the accountant, you are the social media person, you are the outreach person, you are the, in your case, SEO expert, you are, you have clients to call, client to reach out to, because this business is not going to grow itself. You have all these things to do. You neglect yourself in the process. And unfortunately, that neglect adds up, right? You're going to pay the Pied Piper at some point, right? If you don't take care of yourself right now the way you should, you're going to be forced to take care of yourself, right? So if you're not doing everything that you can to protect yourself and check your health status and follow through the way you're supposed to follow through, by that time the body stops because it shuts down. It's going to force you to face reality. So when you're, depleted, where you pass out, or um, you just, shut down. When you're in a hospital bed, if you don't have your computer, or if you're hooked to a machine that you can't even move, guess what? Everything stops. Everything that you were so scared to stop still stops, right? Unfortunately, some people actually lose their life in that process, right? So what if everything just stops, comes to a halt, and you're dead? Then what? Right? Sometimes we don't want to think that morbidly, but this is reality, right? When you talk of something that morbid, everybody's like, oh, okay, no, 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 I'm not ready to hear that. But guess what? This is reality, this is life, right? Even in Korea, we have those hazardous situations where we put ourselves. As a nurse, I will speak from an experience as a bedside nurse. Sometimes you go into work, you don't even have a chance to use the bathroom, and you're working 12 hours straight, right? From the time that you go into work and the time that you leave, it dawns on you, oh my goodness, I didn't even get a chance to take a drink of water, let alone use the bathroom, right? So an average person is like, oh, okay, you just have a strong bladder. No, no, no. All of that is an assault on your bladder and your kidneys, because your kidneys are not functioning and diuresing you the way that they should, And then you have people who at a very young age end up with end stage kidney disorders or any level of kidney disorders, right? Because we didn't take that time just to do something simple as using the bathroom. You have, the distribution chains where we're depending on all these truck drivers to deliver our goods and services, Amazon, Walmart, even the grocery stores, right? FedEx, UPS, you name it, right? These drivers have stops that they have to go through the whole day. They're sitting down. The human body was not meant to be seated for that prolonged a time. That's how people end up with sciatic pain and things of that nature, right? Occupational hazard. Or they have this long route to drive that they have to meet their quotas or their delivery expectations, and they can't even stop to eat. And if they stop to eat, it's usually like fast food, junk food, or they're not even using the restroom for hours on end. All of those things are not good on the body, right? So that is where advocacy comes in. That's when you work with employers to understand that it's not enough to just give your employees just 1 hour meal break. Is it possible to break it up? Because you know what? They need breaks in between, right? They need to let the body function normally the way the body is supposed to function, right? You need to give yourself a break. Even with your eyes. I wear glasses, right? When you go to get your eyes checked, and your computer user, the ophthalmologist often tells you, hey, when you're staying at the computer, give yourself frequent breaks. Stop, look away into a distance, blink a few times, and come back to the screen. Why is that? Because our eyes were not meant to be strained in the way the modern life has required that, we strain it, right? So all this health education are things that your doctor may not have time to talk to you when you go for an annual physical, right? Because again, your doctor is trained. Your doctor has so many patients on their panel to see in a given day, right? The nurse that is working with doctor is also trained because she has all these patients to screen and get in to see the doctor. That is where community advocates and education, like educators like myself, do come in to not only educate about chronic diseases, disease awareness, but also to empower the everyday patient to not only speak up for themselves, but understand how to keep themselves healthy. Because let's face it, sometimes you go to the doctor's office, you don't know what to ask. You don't know what follow-up questions to ask. What if you had an advocate that actually either goes to the appointment with you or coaches you before you go to that appointment, where you can talk to the person, write down all your questions. So by the time you get in front of a doctor, you're not paralyzed by the white coat. Because white coat anxiety is a thing. Yes.
Mm, that's huge. And I think that's what also plays into communication too. Like, people don't communicate these things, or they're not really as many small groups or private communities to talk about this. And I feel like most um health centers, communities, I may be wrong, but if it was me managing something like that, especially if I know I handle different cases, every day, I would create a community, like a public community that is more of like a forum. People can leave their questions, they can communicate like a Reddit form kind of thing forum, sorry. So people can actually connect there, and they're not really talking about what they're going through, but it's more so like general information. How do you, like you said, with water, just taking care of yourself and focusing on the top of line things that by the time you're going down to the bottom of the problem, you've already solved it because you detected it early, those kind of things.
Yeah, so the tricky thing about that, creating a forum like that, is that we have HIPAA violations. So you don't want to inadvertently expose somebody. I think it's something that has to be monitored in a sense. So what I have tried to do is make myself available to people who have questions, right? I make myself available to, that son or daughter who's trying to get their mother compliant with their diabetes, self-management, right? I make myself available to help that grandson who's trying to make sure that grandpa takes his high blood pressure medication, right? I make sure that I make myself available to, that employer who has this employee out because of a chronic, disease. Because last month they had a left leg amputation. This month they're having a right wrist amputation or fingers amputation, right? So I make sure to make myself available for those who are seeking to have this level of intervention. Because for you to be able to ask and me answer a question, you have to elect to have asked that question, right? So that way we are both in agreement that, okay, this is like the relationship that we're establishing. So again, it will be great. It's something that I've thought of. It's something that, maybe I'll create, a group here on Clubhouse of where people can drop in random questions. It doesn't have to be self-directed. It can be one of those kind of, am I the, the jerk for saying this or for answering this, or, whatever, those kind of questions that people ask on, social media. So it can just take that format where it's not so serious. Because when it comes to health care or, health education in general, let's be honest, it is quite intimidating. Okay, it is very intimidating to talk about your own health care. It is very intimidating to open up to anybody about what is going on with you or your family member or anybody that you know. So ultimately, it's about creating a comfortable environment where people can, come in and voice or be able to express themselves. Is the same thing with the students I teach. My cohort have a relationship with me that they don't have with other professors. Why is that? It's because I give them room to be themselves. I make it comfortable that they even tell me things that I'm not supposed to know, personal things, right? So, well, this is happening right now. What should I do? How should I handle this? Or, okay, this is going on with a parent or cousin, how should I approach them given the knowledge that I know? So I think it's a matter of creating a safe place where people feel comfortable to communicate. Because the more patient feels comfortable, even in a healthcare setting, even in a hospital, there's a certain nurse that may approach you. You're like, you know what? I don't even want you to come back into this room anymore. Please, please, please go over there. Don't even come back here. Is that another nurse? Right? But then there's another nurse that may come into the room and talk to you like, you know what? Please don't leave, right? So it's a matter of creating a safe space. I don't want just a general forum, because there are policies and guidelines, government policies, healthcare policies that surrounds things like that. But it's a matter of creating a community, like you said, but a community that is safe enough that people can express themselves and also gain the useful education to also help themselves.
I totally agree with that. Thank you for that insight. It's so helpful to know that we have to think about ourselves first. That's why we're talking about all things health. Because yes, we can talk about tips, tricks, strategies all day, but if we're not healthy, how are we going to execute them correctly or effectively? So I get that. That example you gave, you don't get it on, staff coming in feeling some type of way. Even when you're sick, God forbid, when you're recovering, how you feel inside, your mood, your demeanor affects how fast you're going to recover. Because that's also something going into your brain cells, going into your stress levels, going into blood levels. Like it's a whole thing. So when you think about like the long-term effect of your health, business, handling clients, some are stressing you out, some are excited, some are taking more time than they expected to take. Some of them don't keep with time. So there's so many things that you have to consider and factor. By the end of the day, it boils down to how you operate and how you take back that time and that action. So that was a good one. You don't get it. Appreciate you for that.
Appreciated favor. I think we underestimate the power of stress, or the effect of stress on a person's life. Stress is one of the biggest factor in basically derailing anybody's life. We feel we're fine. Well, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. No, you're not. No, you are not. Right? And this segues into mental health. You know, again, going back to my Nigerian background, we have this thing Fela Kuti, suffering and smiling, right? We have gotten used to suffering and smiling, right? We've gotten used to, I mean, who's going to listen anyway, right? It's not healthy. Okay, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I'm a big advocate for being selfish with your time. I'm a big advocate with, having strong boundaries. Doesn't matter if we're related or not, that's okay, right? I cannot have you come into my life and upheaval everything happy in it. I don't care if you're my number one client. I will respect you, but also understand that, you know what, yeah, no, right? Because some people will, just blow through your piece. They'll blow through whatever boundaries that you may have. At the end of the day, you're pissed off, and that person is over there just enjoying their life in their own little paradise, right? One of my favorite saying, which actually, I don't hold grudges, and that's the reason I don't hold grudges. But this saying actually helps me strengthen the reason why I don't hold grudges. They said holding a grudge is like taking poison and watching the other person die. Same thing with stress. Holding a grudge is stressful, right? So me stressing myself is basically a way of me. It's not self care. At the end of the day, it's not self care. Find time for yourself. If meditating is your thing, if meditating with incense is your thing, if getting a massage twice a month is a thing for you, do it. Drain those lymphatic system, okay? Get those muscles nice and limber again. Because again, we carry tension in our body. You can get off a stressful phone call and feel like, oh, it was just a phone call. And then the next thing, your back starts hurting. If you carry tension in your back, that is it. It settles in your muscle, right? I'm a person that carries tension in my shoulder. And one of my uh what was she, called me brick, because she's like, your shoulders are like brick, like I have to work at it every single time you come in. I know myself, right? Some of us carry tension in our hip. That is why either you're constipated, it hurts, your back hurts, something. So you have to, again, I said this in the beginning, you have to pay attention to those cues, right? The same way your check engine light comes on and you freak out, that's your check engine light, right? You get in the car, you're about to drive up, your car starts dinging, ding, 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 ding. You don't have your seatbelt on. When you start walking around and you're parched, that's your body telling you your seatbelt, which is hydration, is not on. Stop, take a drink of water. If you don't like the taste of plain water, flavor it. Cucumber, lemon, lime. You can even buy one of those IV packets that actually has electrolytes. Replenish yourself. If Gatorade is your thing, drink it through the day. Don't just survive on coffee and the love of God. Just do something for yourself that actually helps you replenish. Because again, as business owners, we focus on the business growth. We are usually wearing multiple hats. Some of us are very bad with delegating. Either we don't trust people or we just feel better doing it ourselves and making sure it's done right. But in all of this, where are you? Where is Favor? Right? Where's Dr. Fashion? Right? Where's Soda? Where's Lamar? Where's Nas? Where's Daniel? Where's Alexander? Right? Where's Minnie? In all of this hustle and bustle and making sure everything is working, where are you in all of that? What are you doing for yourself? Um, Retail therapy for the people that love shopping, I think if it brings you euphoria, fine. But do something that actually helps improve your health. Um, Massage is great. Acupuncture, if that's your jam, I've done acupuncture. I absolutely love it. Something that unfortunately is not really promoted, especially in the the healthcare. It is promoted now. Is more and more holistic form of healthcare is really gaining a big what should I say, come back into the modern healthcare system is massaging, the importance of draining your lymphatic system. And unfortunately, massage has been so bastardized that, when people think of massage, they think of, um, the not so safe for work aspect of massages, right? But if you actually commit to doing this for yourself, even once every 2 months, you will see the difference in your life. You will see the tension reduction, the relaxation that it brings you. Just basically eliminating those stresses. Because again, it's like a reset. You're resetting your system, your metabolism, you're resetting your mind, right? You're resetting just your general being. Because again, we reset our clocks, spring forward, we fall backwards, right? We take our cars for, oils to be changed, right? We take the cars to be washed, right? We do all these things, but when it comes to our bodies, we just ride until the wheel falls off. You pick up the wheel and smash it right back in. Don't care if it's fixed right, right? Just because there's a business to be ran, because I have a job, I have a family to provide to, or I have a family to provide for. I have a career. My boss wants me to be at work at 7 a.m. in the morning, or 6 a.m. in the morning, or 9 to 5, or I have this project that I must absolutely do, right? Yes, do all of that. But what do you do for yourself? What do you do for yourself to decompress? When it comes to stress, when it comes to managing your mental alertness or awareness or your mental health.
This is big, so big. I think we've learned a lot so far, and we've taken in a lot of information on health. And once you're able to take care of these things, like you take care of everything else, then we should be fine. This is so good. Thank you for bringing this up too. Welcome, Dr. Fashion and Soda. Hi, Meanie. Good to see you as well. Dr. Fashion, would like to pass it on to you to just hear from you. What are you thinking? Health wise, because I know you're also busy on the move. Sometimes, you're creating content in between content. So how do you focus on health, and how do you find that, it's important for us all, but how do you manage it?
Yeah, in the beginning, when I first started with my business and content creation, I didn't really prioritize health. Sometimes I would even like do like 3, 4 hours of sleep. And I realized how dangerous it was getting when I was going to work one time years ago and I almost fell asleep on the freeway. I was like, this is not good, right? But the other thing too, since I've been in business for uh, over a decade now, I really prioritize health, and it's something that I teach to a lot of the people in my community. Because we talk about making money quite often, but if you're not here to enjoy it, then what's the purpose, right? So we talk about mental health, and I realize it's something that a lot of people are not comfortable with, but I make them comfortable, and I think more people should be talking about it, because some people just don't know what they can do to kind of relieve their stress. Even if it's just something they could do for like 10 or 20 minutes can make a big difference. So it's something that I like to discuss, even if it make people uncomfortable, because I've been there, stressed, depressed, the whole nine. Also, I'm very mindful of what I put into my body as well. When I was eating junk food, I felt sluggish. I didn't have any energy. I just felt terrible. And once I kind of created like a meal plan where I was eating more things that were, uh, more vitamins, gave me energy, I just felt great. And my schedule changed as well. So it's a lot that goes into it. But I feel like this is a great topic that more people should be talking about. Because if you kind of look at the life expectancy right now, I mean, nobody's talking about that either. But hey, this is where we are in 2024.
Ooh, that's so big. Yes. And, I did a study, or I just went through some paperwork some time back, and I bumped into it randomly, and they were saying how, because of AI technology and how people can detect things, our generation is kind of going to live out a little longer, with less problems, because we will be more problem aware because of information. But I'm not a doctor, so I can't speak of what I don't know.
Yeah.
I just learn. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on that. I think also because of social media, I mean, I've seen a lot of creators or just people in general where they're just constantly scrolling and they're comparing their lives to other people. And those other people that they're looking at are not even living the lives that they think. So it's just a lot that goes into the topic of health, because it's not just what you put in your body, but it's also what you're consuming when you're just scrolling down social media all day. There's a lot of depressed people I'm pretty sure a lot of people in this room done it, right? You're like, wow, she's on a private jet, not knowing that she's at a stage museum. Like, we are seeing that right now. So it's just getting really wild. But I try to focus on myself, because I was that person that was like getting really depressed, comparing my success to other people. Like, why did she get that opportunity? Not knowing that she is struggling mentally and physically, because we're not having that conversation. But it's definitely tough.
Both of you are so right. I want to start with Dr. Fashion's point. I think the reason why we don't have this conversation is one, cultural, and also generational, right? So we didn't grow up in households that it would generally be very open about having this level of conversation. It was always get over it. You're depressed, go and eat something. If you're depressed, go and walk outside. Get off from the bed if you're depressed. Depress this, right? We generally did not grow up that way. So that is one advantage of social media, where people are actually seeing other people going through the same thing. But again, social media is a double-edged sword. Okay, like you said, a lot of people are actually looking at fake lives on social media and comparing their reality, which is most people's reality, to that, right? So is this culture of trying to keep up with the Joneses, that has done us in so many times, right? But we keep doing it to ourselves, right? We keep beating ourselves up, and not applauding ourselves for our accomplishments, right? Half of us that are comparing ourselves to other people have endured so much in life compared to those people, right? But we're looking at what they decide to show us, all right? It's kind of like those that when people say, oh, the couple's goals, and you don't know that these people are being, knocked upside the head every single day of their lives. But no, they come on social media, or they do their little social media post and content, and you're like, oh my God, that's such a lovely family. I wish, oh Lord, when will I get a man like that or a woman like that, right? So that's the disadvantage of social media. But it also has a lot of advantages, which is it gives, healthcare workers like myself and advocates like myself to have a platform to educate people about preventative care or just maintaining health, right? Then back to what Favor said, um, our generation, we're more and more aware, and we're more and more open to talking about things. So we're talking about the millennial, we're talking about the Gen Zs, and as the generation progresses, we're more vocal compared to our parents' generation that you just had to tough through it because that's life, right? So the the statistics of men who died from a heart attack, we're seeing it lower and lower and lower and lower because men are now more um, proactive in recognizing the signs and preventing these things from happening, right? Then, oh, you have a pain in your chest, you're a man, get up, do something else, right? And then you die, right? So it's so crazy that, nature is funny. Nature is funny, and nature is beautiful, and science is great. So when a man has a stroke, a heart attack, right? The pain is directly in the middle of his chest. Boom, right? But men ignore that. They ignore that. Now, a woman, on the other hand, when a woman is having a heart attack, the pain is located in her jaw, nowhere close to the heart, right? But she will seek healthcare intervention. Pain in the shoulder or arm, right? Heart attack. Those are the signs for women, not directly in the chest, right? Again, culture, again, societal ideation of what a man should be or should tough through, right? But I'm so glad that we educating people more, and more people are taking into the account their health. And with the use of AI, I have an app that I use on my phone. Zing is a workout app. I can customize my app, my exercise, based on what my BMI is at the time, what the AI sees, what area I need to work on. I can do that, right? That is AI. right? With the use of integrating AI. That's why I love informatics, right? I could have been a nurse practitioner, but I went into informatics. Why? Because the field of informatics introduce healthcare and technology. That's such a beautiful relationship that must be explored more. Because if I can stay at home and screen myself without having to worry about driving all the way to my doctor's office, if I have rashes on my face, risking people staring at me because I'm already embarrassed, why can't I do it on telehealth? That my doctor can actually take a closer look at my rash on my face and be able to tell me, you know what, I'm going to send antibiotics to the pharmacy, go pick it up, right? So you don't have to come here embarrassed. What if I have such severe pain in my, I have such severe sciatic pain that I can't even drive? I cannot even sit and drive to my doctor's office, but I need this, intervention. How beautiful would it be that I can actually have an app on my phone that I can actually, you know, detect what is going on? I can have electrodes, right? That I can connect to this app on my phone and connect it to my butt. We already have TENS machine, right? A TENS unit kind of like picks up, that nerve irritation and works it out, right? So there's so much that is left to be explored for our generation. Yes, we will have longer. This generation already has long expectancies, right? The boomers are living longer and longer, right? That's the baby boomer generation. Why is that? Life expectancy is increasing. Unfortunately, married women have shorter life expectancies than my single counterparts. So congratulations, single ladies. But that is because we take on the stress of a family, take on the stress of managing a household, a husband, everything. It's true, favor. It's true. Married women have shorter life expectancies, right? There's a lot to manage everything around you. So couple that with a business. You have children, you have a career, you have a husband, you have a household. It's a lot. And often we put everything before us. And that narrative must change. That narrative is something that must change.
Wow. This is a fact. And I love we're having this conversation because it also keeps us in check. We have to check our pulses and check to see if we're drinking enough water, if we're having the right amount of nutrients. So many things go into the body and we don't know. So I definitely, wow, this is something I did not know. That's why I had those big eyeballs, because I was like, this is, I mean, I understand, I get it. And that's why it's also good for that self-care, taking a walk, getting a jog, traveling, therapy, massage, like you said, twice a week. Those things can help. Because even like I know with like for pregnancy, I know like massage is good. That's why they also have like they have maternity massages. That I forgot the name of the term, but I had worked with someone who did that for her practice, and it's so good to hear that at least there are ways that you can ease out those pains, those hurts, and still think about your health as a business. Because what if you're doing all these things and you're running a business too? How do you manage both? How do you put financial, things aside so you're not financially stressed and then emotionally stressed all of a sudden? So it's a big one to catch on, because that way, as you're working, you also have to think about yourself. A lot of entrepreneurs don't have, retirement plans, because it's like a back-to-back, day-to-day thing. This year for me, I'm really learning how to take charge of that and, get that back, because if you keep working and you're working for your family, you're building all these financial goals and legacy, but at the end of the day, you look back, there's nothing to look back at, then that's a problem. And that's why even for me, podcasting is big, because I can look back at episodes and learn from them. And then, you listen to your grandma's stories, on a fireplace. That's storytelling. So all these things that we're learning is what's shaping us as a people. And that's why I really love this conversation that we're having to start the week off as well. Thank you for that. Soda, we'd love to hear from you. What are you thinking? And what's going on in your mind?
Oh my gosh, I love everything that all three of you said. These are all subjects that I actually talk about sometimes on both my podcast and Instagram Live, because I have multiple chronic illnesses. I have also I deal with chronic pain and fatigue due to connective tissue disorder. I'm also diagnosed with ADHD and autism. So I have a lot of health issues that I deal with. And something that I had to realize is that I need to communicate with the people I'm working with that I do have limitations, that sometimes I need to have accommodations for things, and not be embarrassed about it, because I used to be so embarrassed that I can't do certain things. And yeah, just if you have a client, if you have a boss, if you have if you're collaborating with someone, just let them know, like, hey, I, whatever it is that I have that I deal with, things like I can't drive, I can't, just do certain things. I can't use my wrist for too long because it'll flare up. And be open about it and accept it. And then if you're also working with someone, just, being accepting of them too. So I love this conversation because it needs to be talked about more. So thanks for having it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Go ahead and guess it.
Soda, thank you so much for sharing because I think, again, going back to society, it's almost like we're made to feel ashamed, that we have limitations. We all have limitations at some point, all of us, every single last one of us. And it brings me to something that just happened recently. At the start of this term, in February, there was a student in this is my LPN to RN students cohort. And just observing her, I saw how much effort she put into just reading a question. And if you've ever worked with anybody with ADHD, you understand, right? It took her so much effort to just read a question. And like she, not to be vulgar, but she could hear a fly fart and it completely throws her off. Completely throws her off. And everybody's like, what is your deal? What's the problem? It wasn't even that loud. To you, it wasn't that loud. To her, the slightest noise was just basically depleted her. So we had a math quiz, the very first math quiz, and the nursing students are expected to score 100. And I saw how much she struggled. And she's like, can I please sit away from everybody? And I said, that's fine. You can sit away from everybody so you can focus. So I spoke with the other professors. I said, you know what? Let me have this one. You focus on the other students. So I made sure everybody leaving the room left very quietly, no slamming doors, just be mindful, right? And the quiz was 45 minutes. And I spoke with my faculty chair. I'm like, please, can we extend this for an hour for the student? And she's like, why? Why can't she focus like everybody else? And just give me, I don't have a chance. I haven't had a chance to talk to her. I'll talk to her. Um, I've just been observing her, but I want to have a conversation with her after this. So she agreed. Give her an hour. Even with an hour, she couldn't finish a 15-question quiz. So after the quiz, I pulled her aside. And she's like, it's just so hard to focus. I'm trying. Everybody keeps talking. And then, people get up. And when they get up and push their chest back, it's so distracting to me. So I asked her, have you ever talked to, a doctor about, why you're so distracted? Yeah. I have ADHD, right? She just blurted it out. So I'm like, okay. Does the school know? No. Why? Why haven't you spoken to anybody? Because I don't know where to start. I don't know. I don't know if they would believe me. I don't know. So she went into this whole thing. I just let her get it out. And I asked her, are you taking anything for it? She's like, my mother doesn't believe in that. And this is an adult woman that is 26 years old, right? And I said, so how long have you been diagnosed? And she told me throughout her life. She struggled through elementary school, through middle school, through high school, through LPN school, because her mother doesn't believe in medication. And every time she had an IEP and this came up, the mother would shut it down because she believed in prayer and that she was going to be fine. She just needed to focus. So I said, "Do you want me to, give you my opinion on this?" She's like, "Yeah," because at this point she's scared. She's like, "I'm gonna fail." So I said, "Okay, do you have a psychologist or psychiatrist, anybody to talk to?" She said she doesn't, but she could try to get an appointment. So I encouraged her to get an appointment. I even worked with her to get an appointment. And I spoke to my faculty chair. I'm like, "Okay, this is a student that needs accommodation. Oh, you can't go around telling all of them that everybody's going to show up here." I said, "Okay, I understand that, but in this case, she really does need this accommodation." So she had an appointment with a doctor, I think 3 weeks after that conversation. But I had some, family things I had to focus on. So I I did not come back to teach the class until last week. And when I and all the students, they called me, they asked where I was. So she was the only person I didn't hear from. And I was wondering about her. And the very moment that I opened the door, and if you know anything about anybody with ADHD or on a spectrum of any kind, physical touch is not the one thing they do. She flew into my arms and she said, "I have a brand new life." She's like, "I not only passed my second quiz, I passed my midterm." She's like, "I've been looking for you. I've been waiting to talk to you." It's like, I don't know where you came from, but I'm so happy you came into my life. I'm so happy you spent time to talk to me. I'm so happy you gave me that opinion. And the one question I asked her was that, how does your mother feel about this? I was like, my mother noticed the first day, and she is guilty. She feels guilty for not having this intervention earlier on. She's like, LPN school would have been so much easier on me. I'm looking back on high school and middle school, I would have had an easier time. It's like even my fiance notices a difference. Come to find out, this young lady was on all kinds of antidepressants because she told her former psychiatrist she had all these symptoms. She wasn't able to get out of bed. She was feeling had this impending doom, and she was on Wellbutrin. She was on 4 different antidepressants, and nothing worked. Once she was prescribed an ADHD medication, she said she took those medications and threw them away because she found what she was looking for. She said the very next day she woke up cleaning. This is somebody that used to spend time in bed all day and couldn't even get her head straight. It's like, work is so much easier for me because I can go in, receive my report, and organize my shift like other people without feeling like I have to go in an hour ahead to prepare to start my shift. So the things we do to people, when we stifle people, when we make it impossible for people to talk and open up, this is the problem with societal expectation of people. This is the problem with societal, you will be fine, just get up and go. Grab yourself by the bootstraps and go. This is the problem with not providing a safe space for people to actually voice what they need. This is the problem with making people shameful that they need help, that they need accommodation. We all need help and accommodation in one way or the other. So thank you, Soda, for sharing that. And it's just, my heart has been filled since last Friday. And just basically looking at these students' test scores, I'm like, okay, if I've done nothing all semester, that is something that I can check off a box that, you know what? I helped somebody find their path, their own self, because it's like a rediscovery. It's like a rediscovery of oneself. It's like, okay, this is me. This is who I am. I'm able to see me. So thank you so much for sharing.
This is huge. Thank you for this. I feel like this is something we all need. I know, Clubhouse is great to have conversations about anything, but is what a great way to start the week and end the month as well, close to the end of the month with this kind of topic that will help us, think outside the box a little bit and learn how we can be better for our communities, just with the little things that we have, that we know about, because a little goes a long way, So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I wanted you to tell them, guess it about your podcast, because I would love people to know how they can connect with you, how they can find you, and where they can listen to you. And passing it to you right now.
Thank you, Favor. So, I am, oh, right, it's right there, right? Unshelling Medicine, right? That's my podcast. Is basically what it is in the name. Let's unshell this thing. Let's crack it open. As a correct Nigerian girl, I love coconut, right? And for you to get to the sweet meatiness of the coconut and the sweet, juicy, electrolyte filled coconut water, you have to unshell it. And usually is the difficulty of getting to that sweetness. Is it worth it? Right? And for me, it is worth it. It is worth, making that difference, making that effort to get to the meat of everything. So I am on LinkedIn, under my name, Idon Beya. I'm also, I just launched this podcast on Shelling Medicine on Apple. I'm working with Favor on this. The email to reach me is info@altruisticscribe.com. Altruism is one of the five core nursing um, principles, right? And altruism is basically doing for others, right? So it has empathy wrapped around it. So if you want somebody to listen to you, listen to somebody first. Give somebody a safe space to express themselves. Give somebody that softness where to land, a soft spot to land. So I welcome everybody and anybody who wants to engage in a conversation. We're going to make it lively. We're going to make it very real. And we're going to discuss, the reality of life. Because often, like Dr. Fashion said, social media has most people fool. Most people thinking that everything is all well and dandy and, their life is not worth it. It's not the case at all. When we talk about giving people a platform to express themselves, this is what Altruistic Scribe on Shelling Medicine podcast is all about. So please check it out. I would love to collaborate with all of you. Feel free to join me. Feel free to reach out. Let's have fun in educating and creating awareness about life, about health, and about reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, guys, click the link above, and Soda followed you as well. So you have a new subscriber on your podcast on Apple. So thank you so much.
Woohoo! Thank you, Soda.
Thank you, Soda. Just got to give you this real quick. Appreciate you. Yes, yes, it's all about connections, collaborations, and just building it with people. The more connections you make, the more people you reach. You don't have to, there's power in math. You guys should know that by now. I can meet one person, and that one person will lead me to 20 people, and those 20 people lead me to 200 people. And I would have had access to those 200 people if I didn't have access to one person. So think about the longevity of how you're connecting with people. And the more you meet people, you never know. That one person might tell you about one thing that you didn't know, and that's the one thing you needed. So that's why we're here. So this was a great, great show. Thank you so much for being here. This was very impromptu. For those who are on Clubhouse, I didn't know we were going to have a room, but we did have something planned and we wanted to make sure we could fulfill it. So thank you so, so much. Soda says, if you ever want to come on my podcast or Instagram Live, she'd love to interview about the subject. So it don't get it, you have a request.
Oh, I do. Great, great, great. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, Soda. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love to have a conversation with you and, let's do it. Absolutely. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been a great room. I hope you guys learned something. The replays are on. Check out the podcast, so you can also learn a few things, become part of it, and also don't just do what we're saying. Do it, understand why you're doing it, and then come back so we can talk more about how you can do it for your business for the long term. This is the Marketing Club, and this is a house that has been running for a long time now. I've been on the app for close to 4 years now, and it's been a beautiful experience. So this is just one of those amazing experiences that you want to have on the app, where you can learn so much and you can connect with the amazing, guess it, also Dr. Fashion and Soda, who have also contributed to this amazing conversation. And I think if you learn something new, please take it and run with it. Don't just sit on it. Make sure that you run with it and apply it. So when you come back, you can feel like, yes, I learned something new and I was able to take action. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you guys having a wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next room. This week is going to be packed. So thanks for this great start. And I'm going to catch y'all in the hallways. See you very soon. Bye.